The message reached Earth at 03:17 in the morning. It came from the far edge of human-controlled space, from a small research station called Orion 6. The station was not important, not famous, not even fully staffed. Most people on Earth had never heard of it. But the message it sent changed everything. The first person to hear it was Lieutenant Mara Dean, a tired officer working the night shift at the Global Communications Center. She was drinking cold coffee, fighting sleep when the alarms lit up her screen. Red text flashed again and again. Priority 1, Mayday, unknown hostile contact. Mara frowned. Research stations almost never sent panic signals. She tapped her earpiece and played the message. A shaky voice filled the room. This is Orion 6. We are under attack, not pirates, not human, something else. They came out of the dark, ships, many ships. We can't identify them. They are, the voice broke, replaced by static. Then suddenly a scream. They are scanning us, please anyone help us. The message cut off. Mara froze. For a full second she didn't move, then her training kicked in. She hit the emergency alert button, sending the report straight to Earth Command, and that was where everything began. The director of Earth Command, Admiral Rowan Hale, arrived 7 minutes later. He was tall, calm, and known for never raising his voice, even during crisis. But when Mara replayed the message for him, he looked truly worried for the first time in his career. Unknown ships, he said quietly. Multiple, and they attacked first. Mara nodded. Yes, sir, and the message, it sounds like fear, real fear. Admiral Hale looked at the glowing map on the wall. Orion 6 was far, far away, closer to uncharted space than any major human colony. Get me the Defense Council, he said. Across the planet, leaders woke from sleep, screens activated, secure channels opened. Within 15 minutes, the highest levels of human government were gathered. Hale stood at the center of the holographic chamber. We have received a distress call, he said. It may be our first real contact with an alien species, and it seems hostile. A murmur spread through the council. Some faces showed fear, others disbelief. The Prime Minister asked, "How much do we know?" Hale answered, "Very little, but whatever attacked Orion 6 was strong enough to silence the station in seconds." A council member swallowed nervously. "Do we have any ships near that region?" "One," Hale said, "but it is not near. It is stationed at the edge of Black Zone space. It would take hours to reach Orion 6. "What ship is it?" another member asked. Admiral Hale paused, then he said one name. The Aegis. And instantly the room went silent. The Aegis was not just a ship. It was the ship, Earth's largest, strongest, most secret warship, built in darkness, tested in silence, known only to a handful of people. Some called it a myth. Others called it humanity's last weapon. Many believed it was not ready, but now it was humanity's only option. "We send the Aegis," Hale said. "There is no other choice." At that moment, far across space, inside the massive fortress ship Aegis, Captain Jalen Cross stood alone on the command deck. He had not yet heard the message. He was studying star charts when his comm bead chimed. "Captain, this is Intel Control," a voice said. "Earth Command is bringing you to priority status. Stand by for incoming data." Jalen straightened. A priority call from Earth meant something serious, something big, something dangerous. Moments later, the message from Orion 6 played across his deck. He listened silently. Not a single muscle in his face moved, but his heart tightened. The fear in the scientist's voice was real, and the scream at the end, it told him everything. When the message ended, he exhaled slowly. "Helm," he said, "wake the crew, bring all systems online." The ship responded with a deep mechanical hum. Lights brightened. Massive engines warmed. Power flowed through the ship's long metallic frame. The Aegis woke up. Within minutes, hundreds of crew members filled the corridors, pilots, engineers, marines, analysts, technicians. Some looked excited, others nervous. A few simply confused, and none of them knew the truth yet. On the command deck, Captain Cross addressed them through the intercom. This is not a drill. We have received a distress call from Orion 6. The station is under attack by unknown ships. We are the closest vessel capable of responding. We depart in 10 minutes. He paused. I will not lie to you, this may be our first contact with an alien race, and that contact may already be hostile. We do not know their strength, we do not know their technology, but we know this: Orion 6 called for help, and humanity answers its own. Every crew member stood straighter. We launch immediately, Jalen finished. Prepare for full combat readiness. The Aegis moved like a silent storm through space, engines ignited with white fire. Its enormous dark body glided forward, smooth and powerful. This ship was different from any other human vessel. It carried technology that had never been revealed, armor that had never been tested in open war, weapons that could bend gravity, break shields, and crush enemy fleets. But for now, the ship flew quietly like a predator preparing to strike. Inside, tension grew thicker. Lieutenant Mara Dean, who had been transferred to the Aegis years ago, now stood at the long-range sensor station. She studied wave patterns, energy signatures, anything that could hint at the attackers. Her partner, Ensign Theo Cade, asked, "Do you think it's real aliens?" She nodded slowly. The message didn't sound like pirates, it sounded like something new, something scared them. Theo swallowed. "Do you think they'll attack us too?" Mara looked at the glowing image of the Aegis on her screen, the strongest ship humans had ever built. "If they do," she whispered, "they'll regret it." Several decks below in the armory, Marine Commander Rook inspected weapons. He was a huge man with scars, sharp eyes, and a calm voice. Around him, soldiers from the Aegis Elite Strike Unit prepared for battle. One young Marine asked, "Commander, what if they are stronger than us?" Rook did not look up from his weapon. "Then we fight smarter," he said. "Humans always fight smarter." In the engineering corps, Chief Engineer Lyra oversees the power grid. Tubes glow bright blue, engines rumble. She has worked on the Aegis for 8 years and knows every system like her own heartbeat. Her assistant says nervously, "Chief, the warp coils are heating faster than usual." Lyra smirks. "That's because the captain is pushing the engines harder than ever before. He wants us there fast." "Why?" Lyra's face darkens. "Because people are dying." Back on the command deck, Captain Cross studies the scans. He sees nothing, only empty stars, but the emptiness bothers him. If a foreign fleet attacked a station, they should have left a trail, a signature, something, but there was nothing. "Keep scanning," he tells Mara. "Search for anything unusual, even tiny anomalies." "Yes, Captain," she replies. He steps closer to the main window. Stars slide past like cold white sparks. Something was wrong, he could feel it. The Aegis was a powerful ship, but power did not guarantee safety, especially when facing something unknown. 3 hours later, Mara gasped, "Captain, I found something." Cross steps beside her. "Report." She enlarges the scan. A faint energy ripple appears near Orion 6's last known location. "It's very weak," she says. "Almost like a shadow of something passing through space." Captain Cross narrows his eyes. "A ship." "Not one," Mara whispers. "Many, maybe dozens." Theo leans forward. "But it doesn't match any engine type we know. Not human, not pirate, not even old alien ruins." Mara nods. "It's completely new." Captain Cross breathes out. "So the enemy fleet is real." The Aegis approaches the region, tension rising with every second. The crew grows silent, the lights dim. Every soldier readies for impact. Then, finally, the ship drops out of warp, and the screen fills with horror. Where Orion 6 once stood, now there is nothing, not ruins, not wreckage, not even floating metal, only an empty silence. "It's gone," Theo whispers. "The whole station gone." Mara zooms the scan. "Sir, this is impossible. There are no broken parts, no explosion marks, no debris field." Captain Cross stares ahead. "Something removed it," he says quietly. "Completely." Theo's voice shakes, like erased. Before Mara can answer, her screen flashes violently. "Captain, new contact." she shouts. Captain Cross turns sharply. What is it? Mara's hands shake as she reads the data. It is massive, it is close. It is right behind them, and it is not human. Captain, she whispers, we are not alone. The alarm blares across the deck. Red lights flash, and the Aegis comes face to face with something no human being has ever seen. Something enormous, something silent, something ancient, and something very, very hostile. For a moment, no one on the command deck of the Aegis moved. The stars outside the main window shifted. Space itself seemed to bend. A shadow rose behind the ship, huge and silent like a mountain made of metal. Red lights flashed. Warning tones screamed. Full visual, Captain Jalen Cross ordered. The forward screen changed. The sensors built an image from raw data and projected it in high detail. Everyone stared. It was not one ship, it was an entire fleet. Dozens of alien warships hung in space behind the Aegis. They were arranged in perfect lines like teeth. Each ship was sharp and long, with dark armor and bright red lights across the hull. Their engines glowed a poisonous blue. Lieutenant Mara Dean's mouth went dry. These readings, she whispered. Sir, these ships are huge, bigger than any human cruiser. Power output is off the scale. Ensign Theocade swallowed hard. How did they get so close without us seeing them? Mara checked the scans again. They warped in using some kind of folded space corridor. Very narrow, very precise. Our sensors were not ready for that pattern. So, Captain Cross said quietly, they are not only strong, they are clever. The fleet did not move. It simply floated behind the Aegis like a silent wall. On each alien ship, spikes pointed forward. Weapon ports glowed faintly. It looked like the fleet was waiting for a signal, waiting for orders. Any communication? Cross asked. None, sir, Mara answered. No hails, no standard beacon, no known code. Are they scanning us? Yes, constantly. It's like they are tasting us. That last word made several officers shiver. Far away on the bridge of the largest alien ship, another captain watched the Aegis. His name was Vorak 10, High Commander of the Varkol Dominion Spearhead Fleet. His eyes were deep black with a ring of burning gold. His skin was dark gray, covered with faint lines that marked his rank and victories. Until this day, he had never lost a battle, but today he felt something new, something cold. As he looked at the huge human warship on his screen, he felt the sharp edge of doubt. Is that human? His second officer asked, his voice tight. Vorak 10 stared at the strange ship. It did not look like the weak human vessels from old files. Those ships were small, with simple engines and thin hulls, easy to destroy. This one was different. It was massive, shaped like a dark triangle. Its armor looked thick and layered. Thousands of tiny golden lights dotted its surface like a city in space. It had no visible engines, but it floated with steady power. Vorak 10's claws tapped lightly on his chair. Scan it again, he ordered. Full spectrum, all bands. His tech officers rushed to obey. Numbers rushed across the screens. Energy levels, heat signatures, shield strength. Data streamed in wave after wave. The more they scanned, the quieter the bridge became. At last, one tech officer said, Commander, our systems cannot read many of its fields. It uses curated singularity power. Its gravity signature is unnatural. Unnatural how? Vorak 10 demanded. It is controlled, the tech said, as if they hold a black hole in chains. Back on the Aegis, the crew worked at full speed. Shields at maximum, said Tactical Officer Raz. Weapon systems armed, all gravity lances charged. Marine Commander Rook stepped onto the command deck. He wore light armor, helmet under one arm. Boarding parties ready, he said. If they come close, we're prepared. Captain Cross nodded, eyes still on the alien fleet. Let us try not to board them, he said quietly. Yet, he turned to Mara. Send a basic greeting. Standard first contact message, translate into all known math-based patterns. I want them to understand we can talk before we shoot. Yes, Captain, she said. She typed quickly. The message was simple, built on universal physical constants. It said, "We are humans of Earth. You have attacked our station. Identify yourselves and state your purpose." She sent the signal. Then the ship waited. In the Varkol flagship, the message arrived. At first it was just noise. Then the translation software caught the pattern: prime numbers, simple geometry, basic physics, a classic first contact structure. The final translation appeared on Vorak 10's display. He read it once, twice. "Humans," he said slowly. "These are humans." His officers looked shocked. "But the station we destroyed sent only weak distress calls," one officer said. "Their technology was low. Their weapons were nothing. How could such a primitive species build this vessel?" Vorak 10 did not answer at once. He looked again at the Aegis. A thought came to him like a cold wind. Perhaps their other ships were not primitive. Perhaps they were only pretending. He felt anger rise in his chest. "Cowards," he growled. "They hid their true strength. They watched us. They waited." "Commander," another officer said in nervous awe, "what are your orders?" Vorak 10 thought quickly. The Varkol Dominion had spent years secretly mapping this part of the galaxy. They had conquered weaker races, destroyed small outposts, tested their weapons. Human colonies were supposed to be easy targets. If humans had hidden ships like this, things were different. But he had a duty. He had never fled. He straightened in his chair. "We answer their message," he said, "and then we test this warship." On the Aegis, a reply finally appeared. "It's coming through," Mara said. "Very structured, strong signal. I am decoding now." Lines of alien symbols appeared. The computer translated them into simple English. The voice that followed was deep and rough but clear. "We are the Varkol Dominion. This sector is now under our rule. The station you mentioned refused to surrender and was removed. You will submit your vessel for inspection. If you obey, your crew may live." The command deck went silent. Theo stared at the words. "Removed," he muttered. "They say removed like they talk about trash." Raz scowled. "They call this our sector like they already own it." Captain Cross read the message again. His face stayed calm, but his eyes hardened. "Arrogant," Rook said simply. "Yes," Cross replied. "Very." He tapped the arm of his chair. "They want us to submit because that is what every other race has done. They expect fear. They expect weakness." He looked at his bridge crew. "They will be disappointed." Captain Cross stood and faced the main window. The alien fleet glowed red in the distance, weapons humming with power. "This is our first look at them," he said quietly. "But it is also their first real look at us." He turned to Mara. "Record." The small red light on her console turned on. "This is Captain Jalen Cross of the human warship Aegis," he said, his voice clear and steady. "The Varkol Dominion, you have destroyed a peaceful research station and murdered its crew. You now threaten a sovereign human vessel in our own space." He paused only a second. "Your demand is refused. We will not submit. We do not belong to you. Turn your fleet around and leave this region now. If you do not, we will teach you why no one rules over humanity." He nodded to Mara. "Send it." She obeyed. The message flew into the void. On the Varkol flagship, the reply arrived. Vorak 10 watched the human captain's face on his screen. The human looked calm, almost relaxed. His eyes were sharp, his uniform simple but clean. The alien commander expected to see fear. Instead, he saw iron. When the message ended, the bridge crew burst into angry chatter. "They refuse us," one officer shouted. "They dare," Vorak 10 raised a hand. Silence fell at once. His jaw was tight, but his voice was soft. "Bring the fleet to battle formation," he said. "We will crush their pride, then we will break open that ship and take its secrets." On the Aegis, the alien fleet began to move. Mara read the data. "They are spreading out," she said, "forming attack lines, power rising, weapons charging." "Ship count?" Captain Cross asked. 32 heavy warships, 12 support ships, several smaller escorts." Rook whistled softly. "That's a lot." Raz smiled without humor. "Good. Saves us the work of hunting them down later." The crew laughed nervously. The sound helped break the fear. Captain Cross took his seat. "Remember," he said, "they think we are weak. They think we are like every species they have beaten. That is our advantage. We only get to surprise them once. Let us make it count." He opened the ship-wide channel. "All hands," he said. "This is the captain. You are about to witness the first major battle between humanity and an alien empire. History will remember what happens here. Fight hard, fight smart, and trust the Aegis. She was built for this." The alien fleet advanced. Their front line glowed bright blue as their main cannons charged. The ships moved with strict discipline like a single creature. On the Aegis, tactical officer Raz watched their pattern. He pointed to the screen. "See how they group their heavy ships to cover the smaller ones," he said. "They use a crush formation, strong forward, weak rear, works against slow targets." "Are we slow?" Theo asked. Raz grinned. "Not today." Captain Cross glanced at Engineer Lyra through the side screen. "Engine status, overcharged and ready," she said. "We can shift gravity fields in any direction, but if we push past safe levels, the ship will scream." "Let her scream," Cross said. "Just keep her in one piece." Vorak 10 watched his ships move closer to the lone human warship. "Range?" he asked. "Primary cannons ready in 20 seconds, his gun officer replied. "Their shields are strong, but no single ship can stand against a full Varkol barrage." Vorak 10 leaned forward. "Focus all frontline fire on their engines," he said. "We will break their legs first, then we will watch them crawl." His officers bared their teeth in cruel smiles. The countdown began. 10 seconds, 9, 8 on the Aegis. Alarms showed the buildup of enemy fire. "Brace for impact," Raz said, but Captain Cross raised his hand. "Not yet," he said calmly. "They are focusing on our engines. They think we will try to run." He smiled. "We won't." He turned to Lyra. "On my mark, shift our gravity well to vector 39. Prepare for a slide jump." Lyra's eyes widened. "That is inside their formation, Captain." "Yes," he said, "exactly." The enemy countdown reached 3, 2. "Now," Captain Cross ordered. The Aegis twisted space around itself. From the outside, it looked as if the huge human warship simply blurred and vanished. The Varkol cannons fired. Beams of blue energy tore through the point in space where the Aegis had been a heartbeat before. The fire hit nothing. "Where did they go?" Someone shouted on the alien bridge. Before anyone could answer, alarms screamed. The Aegis reappeared inside the Varkol formation, right behind their front line and above their support ships. Humans had not run. They had jumped into the heart of the enemy fleet. For the first time in his long career, Vorak 10 felt his mind go blank. His fleet, the most feared in the Dominion, suddenly looked fragile, like glass. And now every alien eye turned to the Aegis. Their first full look at a human warship in combat. For a heartbeat, the entire enemy fleet froze. Captain Cross did not waste that heartbeat. "Fire," he said, and the Aegis answered. For one breathless moment, all of space went quiet. The alien fleet, once a perfect wall of power, now found a human warship sitting inside their formation, shining like a dark blade surrounded by prey. Every alien officer stared at the Aegis with shock. Their sensors stuttered. Their screens glitched. Their minds refused to believe what they were seeing. Humans were not supposed to move like that. Humans were not supposed to have this kind of technology. Humans were not supposed to be dangerous. But the Aegis whispered another truth. On the Varkol flagship, High Commander Vorak 10 finally spoke. "React, turn the ships, surround it." But his orders came too late. The Aegis strikes first inside the human warship. The deck trembled as the main weapons activated. Golden light filled the Aegis' long thermal veins, flowing like molten metal through the hull. The ship seemed to breathe, slow, powerful, alive. "Gravity lances charged," Tactical Officer Raz announced. "Targeting arrays locked." Captain Jalen Cross leaned forward. He did not raise his voice. He simply said, "Begin." The first gravity lance fired. It did not look like a laser. It did not look like a missile. It was a thin, twisting beam of distorted space, a spear of controlled gravity. The beam hit the nearest Varkol cruiser. At first nothing happened. Then the ship folded inward like soft clay. The hull bent, the armor twisted, the metal creaked and screamed. Then the cruiser collapsed in on itself, silent, clean, terrifying. The aliens had never seen such a weapon. "By the stars," Theo whispered. "We crushed it." Raz nodded with a grim smile. "That's what a controlled singularity does." Panic spreads in the Varkol fleet on the alien flagship. Confusion turned into fear. "Commander, we lost Cruiser 17. An officer shouted. "Impossible," Vorakten snarled. "That ship had full shields." "It did not matter," the officer said. "Their weapon ignores shields, it tears the ship itself." Vorakten slammed his claws onto the control panel. "Spread out, do not bunch together, they will strike again." But there was no escaping what came next. The Aegis moves like a living storm. Most human ships moved slow, turning like real-world oceans vessels. The Aegis was not like them. It moved like a creature, silent, sharp, almost graceful. "Vector shift to 2-4, Captain Cross ordered. Slide under their heavy line, keep us unpredictable." Mechanic Lyra pulled energy from the core and redirected the gravity engines. "Adjusting," she said. "Hold tight." The Aegis tilted, rotated, and slid sideways, not through space, but across space. The ship glided with impossible precision, weaving through the enemy formation. It felt wrong, it felt unreal, it felt human. "Captain," Mara said, her voice shaking with adrenaline, "the enemy ships can't track us, their targeting systems can't lock, we're too fast." "Good," Cross replied, "let's keep it that way." The Varkol counterattacked. The aliens were not weak, they were not used to losing. Vorakten forced his ships to adapt. "All forward destroyers," he roared. "Fire scatter beams, fill the space around the human ship. I want a storm of plasma." Blue and red lights flared across the enemy fleet. Hundreds of plasma beams fired at once, converging from all directions, forming a deadly web of burning light. "Brace," Raz called out. The beams hit the Aegis like a rising sun. The ship shook violently. Metal groaned. Sparks fell from ceiling vents. Theo grabbed his console. Shields at 70. Their weapons hit harder than predicted. Raz gritted his teeth. "We can't take too many hits like that." Captain Cross remained calm. "Adjust shield angle. Rotate defensive plates. Spread impact. Do not stop moving." The Aegis twisted sideways again, avoiding the next volley by mere meters. But even while dodging, the ship kept fighting. "Fire lances 2 and 3, Cross said. Twin beams of warped gravity shot out from the Aegis wings. 2 more Varkol destroyers folded like paper. Vorakten watched 3 of his ships die in under 1 minute. "This is not a normal human warship," he growled. "This is something else." "Fear begins to change the battle in the Varkol fleet," whispers spread. "The humans have a god ship. The humans bend space. We cannot stop that vessel. This was supposed to be an easy conquest." Fear grew like cracks in steel. On the Aegis, Rook, the Marine commander, watched the scans. "They're losing discipline," he said. "They're scared." Captain Cross nodded. "Fear is a weapon. Let it work for us." But Mara's voice broke through the moment. "Sir, new energy reading." Cross turned. "From where?" "From the flagship," Mara said. "Commander Vorakten is charging something big." Theo checked his panel, power levels rising fast. "That is not a normal weapon." Raz frowned. "They're building something massive, something dangerous." Captain Cross stood still for a second, then he said, "Prepare countermeasures, and hold the lances. We may need every shot." The enemy superweapon reveals itself on the Varkol flagship. The main cannon unfolded from the ship's lower spine. It was 3 times bigger than any human cannon. It glowed with unstable blue lightning. It hummed with brutal energy. Vorakten's voice echoed across his bridge. "Fire the judgment beam." His crew obeyed. A piercing roar filled the alien flagship as the weapon erupted. A massive beam of dark blue energy shot across space, heading straight for the Aegis. Impact in 2 seconds. Mara shouted, "Brace!" Raz yelled, the beam hit. The entire Aegis shook like a struck bell. Panels exploded. Smoke filled the air. Shields cracked like glass. Theo cried out, shields collapsing, 40% remaining. Lyra screamed from engineering, hull temperature rising, gravity engines unstable. A second hit like that would kill them. The Aegis awakens fully. Captain Cross did not panic. He spoke calmly, clearly like a man used to facing storms. "Lyra, channel emergency power into the singularity core." "Captain," she protested, "that can overload the ship, do it." Her hands flew across controls, charging core, the lights dimmed. Then the heart of the Aegis, its dark energy core, flared alive. The ship vibrated, the hull glowed gold. Lines of ancient runic patterns appeared across the metal plating, symbols of old hidden military projects. This was not just a ship. This was a weapon built in secrecy, built with alien fragments, built for the day humanity would have to face a real threat. Now that weapon woke fully. "Singularity field stable," Lyra said. "We are running at 120%. The Aegis looked brighter, sharper, more alive. Captain Cross raised his hand. "Return fire." The human counterstrike gravity lances were deadly, but the Aegis carried something even worse. "Primary cannon charge," Cross commanded. A deep rumble echoed through the ship. Raz's voice shook with awe. The Starpiercer ready to fire. The Starpiercer was the Aegis' strongest weapon, a focused beam of collapsing gravity that could tear open armor, shields, even space itself. Theo whispered, "Captain, if we fire that, the flagship will break." "That," Cross said, "is the idea." He turned toward the enemy fleet. "Fire." The Aegis unleashed its strongest attack. A silver-white beam tore across the void, fast, straight, unstoppable. It struck the Varkol flagship dead center. The alien shields shattered instantly. Armor tore open like paper. Metal screamed and ripped. The front half of the flagship melted away. Vorak 10 was thrown from his chair as the bridge exploded around him. The Varkol fleet watched their strongest ship get torn apart by a single human shot. Their courage died. The battle shifts completely. Chaos spread across the alien fleet. "Commander is down. The flagship is crippled. The human ship, how is it so strong? We must retreat. We must survive." Dozens of ships tried to break formation and run. Others fired blindly, terrified. The Aegis weaved through them like a reaper. "Target engines," Cross said. "Leave them drifting." One by one, the alien ships fell silent, floating powerless. Raz turned. "Captain, they're falling apart. Should we finish the fleet?" Cross looked at the burning debris, at the dying ships, at the panic. He shook his head. "No, we send one message, one memory, one lesson." He lifted his chin. "Disable 10 more enemy ships, then let the rest flee." Rook nodded. "Let them spread the story." "Yes," Cross said softly. "Let them tell the galaxy what they saw today." The enemy flees when the final lance struck. The last Varkol destroyer broke formation and escaped into hyperspace. Others followed, panicked, broken, humiliated. In minutes, the once mighty fleet disappeared. The Aegis floated alone in the battlefield it had created. Wreckage drifted, fires burned. Silence returned. Theo broke it softly. We won." Mara wiped her eyes, "and we survived." Lyra whispered, "The Aegis held." Rook said a single word, HFY, humans, for the win. Captain Cross, calm as always, sat straight in his chair. "Log this," he said. "Humanity's first true space battle." He exhaled slowly. "And the day the galaxy learned to fear the Aegis." For several long minutes, the command deck of the Aegis remained silent. The enemy fleet, the feared Varkol Dominion force, had fled like frightened animals, leaving behind broken warships drifting powerless in space. The battlefield still glowed with blue and red fires. Metal fragments spun slowly like sad, dying stars. The Aegis hummed quietly, its hull still bright with the afterglow of its singularity core. It looked less like a ship and more like a living titan catching its breath. Captain Jalen Cross finally stood. "Begin rescue scans," he said. "Any surviving humans from Orion 6, any escape pods, any drifting signals, find them." Mara Dean's hands moved quickly over the controls. "Yes, sir." Starting deep scan pulses. Theo added, "Also searching for Varkol survivors. Many ships still have life signs." Raz looked over. "You want to save the enemy?" Captain Cross shook his head. "No, I want to understand them." A ghost signal. The Aegis scanned debris fields for almost 10 minutes. Nothing. No human life sign, no escape pod, no recorder beacon, no black box. Orion 6 had not just been destroyed, it had been erased. Mara's voice cracked. "Captain, I'm sorry, there is nothing left." Cross closed his eyes for a moment. He had known many scientists on Orion 6. Some were friends, some had families waiting on Earth. He opened his eyes again, calm, focused. "They deserve justice," he said. "We will find who did this." Theo suddenly gasped. "Sir, new signal, very weak, coming from the far side of Quadrant 3. Human?" Cross asked. "No," Theo said, "not human." Mara enhanced the audio. At first it was static, then a soft, rhythmic clicking, then a voice, broken, distorted, struggling, a Varkol voice. "Help any ship, this is Commander Vorak 10, flag ship disabled, engines dead, request, assistance." Raz raised a brow. "The enemy commander, he survived." Rook crossed his arms. "Why is he sending distress? I thought they were fearless." Captain Cross stared at the trembling waveform. "Bring him in," he said. The bridge fell silent. Rook frowned. "You want to save the man who destroyed Orion 6. Cross answered calmly. "I want to know why he did it, and I want him alive to tell it." The broken Titan, the Aegis, approached the damaged Varkol flagship. It was barely a ship anymore. Its front half burned away. Long cracks ran across its armor, and fires glowed deep inside the hull. Yet somehow it still held together. Marine recovery teams flew toward the wreck in armored shuttles. Inside one shuttle, Commander Rook gripped his rail. "Remember," he told his Marines, "Varkol soldiers are strong, fast, and brutal. Expect a fight. Anyone acts aggressive, drop them." The shuttle doors opened with a hiss. They entered a corridor filled with smoke and floating debris. Sparks rained like tiny meteors. Varkol soldiers lay dead everywhere. Some crushed by fallen beams, others burned, others simply twisted by the Aegis gravity strike. Only one chamber still held life, the control hall. The Marines forced the door open. Vorak 10, High Commander of the Dominion fleet, lay half-buried under metal fragments. His armor was cracked, his breathing weak, golden blood on his claws. Rook approached carefully. The alien lifted his head and laughed, weak, bitter. "So humans do not fear." His voice was low, rough, yet still proud. "You came for answers." Rook tapped his comm. "Captain, we found him alive, bringing him aboard." The interrogation room. Vorak 10 sat inside a reinforced glass chamber on the Aegis lower deck. His injuries were treated. He was not grateful. Captain Cross entered calmly, hands behind his back. "Commander," Cross said, "you killed the people of Orion 6. Tell me why." Vorak 10 glared, baring sharp teeth. "You think I fear you?" The alien growled. "One ship does not change an empire." Cross didn't blink. "You sent a claim message. You declared our sector under Varkol rule. You destroyed a peaceful station. What did you hope to gain?" Vorak 10 leaned forward, shadows covering his face. "You humans do not understand the larger galaxy. There are powers far older than your little world. We acted because we had to." "Had to?" Cross repeated. "Explain." Vorak 10 looked away, then back, anger mixing with fear. "Yes, fear. There is something coming," he whispered. "Something that hunts all of us." The room froze. Cross frowned. "Something? What do you mean?" Vorak 10's voice dropped lower. "You think the Varkol are your greatest danger. You are wrong. We are children playing with fire compared to them." "Who?" Cross asked. Vorak 10 exhaled shakily. "The Devourers." Mara, listening from the observation room, felt her heart skip. Cross stepped closer. "What are the Devourers?" Vorak 10 avoided his eyes. Not what, he said softly. Who? The truth no one wanted, Vorak 10 continued. The Devourers are an old species, older than your sun, older than the Varkol. They cross galaxies, they take planets, they take life, they leave nothing. Cross remained still. Why haven't we heard of them? He asked. Because they do not announce themselves, Vorak 10 said. They erase, they consume, and they hide their presence by wiping all witnesses. Cross's voice hardened. Are you saying Orion 6 was destroyed by these Devourers? Vorak 10 laughed weakly. No, that destruction was ours. We wanted your colony gone before they arrived. We wanted your species to stay hidden. We thought if humans stayed small and silent, the Devourers might ignore you. The captain stared, cold, hard, unmoving. You massacred our scientists to hide us. Vorak 10's throat tightened. Yes. Cross's silence was dangerous. The alien continued hesitantly. Humans, you don't understand. You advanced too quickly. You built that warship, your Aegis, and its power signals echo far. If the Devourers detect your technology, he looked away. They will come for you. Theo murmured from the monitoring booth. Captain, this is insane. He can't be telling the truth. But Vorak 10 heard him. It is truth, he snapped. We Varkol destroyed other young races to keep them hidden. Some thanked us later. Some died still cursing us. Cross's voice chilled. You think genocide is protection? Yes, Vorak 10 said without shame. You humans have only one warship like the Aegis. One, the Devourers will send thousands. They do not conquer, they erase. Rook clenched his jaw. Why warn us? Why tell us now? Vorak 10 laughed darkly. Because you defeated me, because you made us fear, and because we realized something. Cross waited. Humans, Vorak 10 whispered, might be able to fight the Devourers. The warning message Captain Cross ended the interrogation. Vorak 10 was taken back to his cell, silently watched by heavily armed Marines. On the command deck, Cross stood before the bridge crew. Mara looked shaken, Theo nervous, Lyra pale, Rook angry, Raz thoughtful. Cross spoke calmly. Commander Vorak believes a greater threat exists, a species that destroys entire civilizations. Theo murmured, do you believe him? Cross took a moment, then he nodded. Yes. Mara whispered, sir, what do we do? Cross tapped a key. A hologram of the galaxy lit up. First, we warn Earth, they must know everything. Raz frowned. If we send a galaxy-wide message, others will hear too. I know, Cross said, but staying silent is worse. He pointed at the glowing map. We must prepare, strengthen, expand. We will show the galaxy that humans do not run. If something is coming, we meet it head-on. A signal sent across the stars, the Aegis communication system powered up. It formed a coded, encrypted burst, long-range, military-grade, nearly impossible to block. Mara hit transmit. The message began its journey across the dark. Earth would hear it. Human colonies would hear it, but so would others. Far away in silent corners of the galaxy, dormant sensors flickered awake as the human signal passed. Old machines listened. Old enemies stirred. Old hunters opened their eyes. And somewhere very far away, in a region where stars didn't shine, something heard the message. Something enormous, something ancient, something hungry. A deep vibration rolled through that empty darkness, a voice without sound. A new species speaks. A new star rises. Find them. On the Aegis, Captain Cross looked at his crew. We started a fire today, he said. Against the Varkol, against silence, against fear. He turned toward the stars beyond the window. And now the galaxy is listening. Mara whispered, do you regret sending the message? Cross shook his head. No, whatever is coming, humanity will not hide. We will stand, we will fight. And when the Devourers arrive, his eyes harden like iron. They will learn what happens when they threaten Earth. The engines hummed, glowing brighter. The Aegis turned toward home, carrying a warning that would shake every corner of the galaxy. The journey back to Earth began with an unusual silence. The Aegis, normally filled with soft engine hums and steady crew chatter, now carried a heavy weight. Every person aboard felt it. Every step echoed with the same uneasy thought: the Devourers were real. They were coming, and no one knew how soon. Captain Jalen Cross stood at the main window on the command deck as the Aegis glided through the dark. Stars stretched like silver threads as the ship entered a long-distance warp corridor. Mara Dean watched him quietly. "He hasn't moved for 10 minutes, Theo whispered beside her. "He's thinking," Mara replied softly, "thinking about what comes next." Theo sighed. "I'm thinking too, and all I see is danger." Mara's eyes softened. "Then think about this. If humanity has any chance, it starts with him, and with this ship." The shadows behind them as the Aegis traveled, Rook monitored the captive Varkol commander. Vorak 10 was in a secure chamber, still injured but alive. Suddenly, Rook noticed something odd on the sensors. He tapped his comm. "Bridge, this is Rook. We have a problem." Captain Cross turned. "Report." Rook zoomed in on a faint shadow in their wake, a shape, no heat signature, no engine output, barely detectable. "Something is following us," Rook said. "No identification, no transponder, like a ghost." Mara ran a deeper scan. "Captain, it's not a ship, more like a field, a space distortion." Theo blanched. "You think the Devourers already found us?" Cross stared at the shadow behind the Aegis. It drifted at a distance, faint, almost like fog in space, watching. "We don't know," Cross said, "but we don't assume the best." He spoke calmly but firmly. "Stay on full alert. No one relaxes until we reach Earth." Inside the holding cell, meanwhile, Vorak 10 sat on the metal bench inside his containment field, watching the shifting lights across the walls. He sensed tension in the humans. Good, they needed fear. Fear made species cautious, careful, alive. The cell door hissed open. Captain Cross entered alone. Vorak 10 smirked weakly. "Your crew feels the scent of the Devourers, good knows." Cross ignored the insult. "What were you hiding from us?" he asked. Vorak 10 tilted his head. "You think I know all answers. I know only one truth: the Devourers do not leave survivors." Cross's jaw tightened. "Then why follow us? Why appear now?" Vorak 10's eyes narrowed. "Because your ship screamed when it fought. That weapon, your Starpiercer, sends out a signal even the dead can hear. You think you fired a cannon, but the Devourers felt it like a beacon." The captain froze. "You're saying our victory called them?" Vorak 10 nodded slowly. "Every time you fight with such power, they hear and they come." Cross left the cell without another word. His face was calm, his heart was not. Earth receives the message hours later. Earth appeared like a glowing marble on the ship's front screen, blue oceans, swirling white clouds, golden city lights. For many crew members, the sight brought relief, for others fear. Would Earth believe their warning? As they entered orbit, the Aegis communication system lit up. "Captain, incoming message from Earth Defense Council," Mara said. "Priority level maximum." Cross stood straight. "Put it through." A large holo image appeared, Prime Minister Area Solon and Admiral Rowan Hale. Captain Cross saluted. "Ma'am, sir." Prime Minister Solon looked tired, Hale looked worse. "Captain," the Prime Minister began, "we received your warning message. It caused worldwide panic." Theo winced. Mara looked down. "But we confirmed the Varkol attack on Orion 6, she continued. "And we analyzed the battle data you sent. The Aegis performed beyond expectations." Admiral Hale leaned forward. "Captain, is the Devourer threat true, or was it a fear tactic from the Varkol?" Cross took a breath. "It is true." The room fell silent. Then Cross said something he had never said before. "I recommend Earth enter full defense mode, all colonies recalled, all warships regrouped, and we need to begin the Aegis fleet project." Admiral Hale's eyes widened. "We shut that project down 5 years ago." "Reopen it," Cross said. "We'll need more ships like the Aegis, a lot more." Prime Minister Solon nodded slowly. "We will gather the world, prepare for a council meeting. Earth will hear everything you learned." Her image vanished. Earth's reaction as the Aegis approached the central docking ring, thousands of citizens gathered across cities to witness it. The giant triangular warship cast a shadow over oceans and buildings. People stared up with awe. Some cheered, some prayed, some feared what this ship meant. Humanity had never built anything like it. Now they wondered, what enemy required such a weapon? The Aegis docked with a deep metallic thud. Captain Cross turned to his crew. "This is only the beginning," he said. "Be ready." The doors slid open. Hundreds of soldiers and scientists waited, ready to escort the crew. Rook stepped out first, scanning the crowd. Mara followed, carrying data. Theo held the battle logs. Lyra walked behind with engineering reports. Raz walked like a man who had seen the edge of the world and survived it. Finally, Captain Cross stepped onto Earth soil. The crowd cheered. He did not wave. He did not smile. He was thinking of the shadow that had followed them. The World Council meeting inside a massive circular hall, the leaders of Earth's nations, colonies, and military forces gathered. Screens displayed wreckage from the Varkol fleet. Graphs showed impossible weapon readings. Satellite images showed the darkness that had followed the Aegis. Captain Cross stood in the center. Mara played recorded footage. The Aegis jump into the enemy formation, the gravity lances, folding ships, the Starpiercer, destroying the flagship, the captured Varkol commander. His warning about the Devourers leaders whispered. Gasps echoed. Fear grew. Prime Minister Solon asked one final question. "Captain Cross, what do you recommend?" Cross stepped forward. "This is not a war with the Varkol Dominion. This is the beginning of something much larger." He pointed to the darkness on the screen, a shifting shadow. "The Devourers are not coming for one world. They are coming for every world." Silence filled the room. "We must unite," Cross said. "We must build, prepare, train every nation, every colony, every shipyard." His eyes sharpened. "And we must create a fleet stronger than anything humanity has ever imagined." Raz whispered, "HFY." Mara stood straighter. Theo clenched his fists with new determination. Rook nodded proudly. Lyra smiled with tired bravery. Cross continued. "The Aegis proved what humans can do when pushed. Now we must build more. We must show the galaxy that humans are not prey." He leaned closer to the microphone. "We are the fire in the dark." The final revelation as the Council agreed to Cross's plan. As alarms blared across Earth preparing the planet for total defense, something else happened. Mara was reviewing long-range scans when she froze. Her face went pale. "Captain," she whispered. Cross turned toward her. "What is it?" She enlarged the scan, a dark wave, a massive cluster of shadows moving slowly toward human space. Not one, not a few, thousands, too many to count. Theo's throat tightened. That looks like a swarm." Rook's eyes widened. "A whole armada." Lyra whispered, "This can't be real." Raz muttered, "It is." Mara looked at Cross with fear. "They heard us, Captain," she said. "They found us." A deep silence filled the room. Every heart stopped for a moment. Captain Cross stared at the dark swarm approaching in the distance. Then he said the words that would ignite Earth's greatest era. "Prepare the Aegis. Prepare every ship. This is humanity's stand." He turned toward the window, toward the stars. "And let the Devourers learn." He whispered, "What humans become when we fight for our home."